Okay guys, welcome back from lunch. Our next talk is by Chirag Chopra. He's the founder of Lucid Labs. So Chirag's an independent game developer with a master's in video game design and has participated in a lot of game jams, managed to shine in some of them. And game jams have not only helped him refine his skills, but have also become one of the key impacts for starting his own indie studio. His debut game, Roto, was also developed in a 24-hour game jam and managed to grab a couple of awards, both international and nominations, including an honorable mention award at the Global Game Developer Competition and the Best Free-to-Play nominee at Casual Connect Asia. Now he has tied up with SEA and is ready to launch his first commercial game on a global platform. Chirag Chopra.
Thank you, Pratik. It feels so good when someone says good things about you. But this is the wrong format of the presentation, so I'll just change. Yes, so we'll begin now. And I welcome you all to this talk about game jams and what makes them so special, and especially for indie developers. But first of all, you might be wondering, who is this guy? We've not seen him before. Is he even old enough to give talks? So I am Chirag Chopra, and as Pratik mentioned, I have a master's diploma in video game design. I founded a small startup with a couple of friends by the name of Lucid Labs. And as you can tell from the title of my talk, I am a game jam enthusiast. And yes, I am old enough to talk. So let's begin with what is a game jam. For people who don't know what a game jam is and how game jams work, it's probably an event where you meet a lot of indie developers, you showcase your games to them, you talk to people, you take feedbacks. So that's one part of a game jam. The second part is where there's a competition and you attend the competition. It's a 24-hour or a 48-hour competition. You're given a theme on the spot and you have to come up with a playable prototype within that time period. So that's where the competition happens. Now these events can happen whether online, you can participate online from your home, or on site where you go with your systems, you work together in a team and you develop games. Now before I begin, I would like to ask you guys, how many of you have ever participated in a game jam, online or offline? Okay, I see a few hands rising up, but this is normal. This talk is equally important to those who have some experience in game jams and who completely don't even know how game jams work. So before we start about the point of having game jams and how they benefit you, let's talk about a short history and like how it all began. What was the initial idea about it? Why people wanted to meet and develop games in a team, and what was the sole purpose of having a game jam? So when we talk about game jams, we have to talk about the two key people by the name of Sean Barrett, the guy behind Thief, and Chris Hecker, the guy who made Spore and his latest title, Spy Party. So these both, they were friends, they were developers, and they invented a new engine. So they wanted people to test that engine, exploit the engine, and see what the engine was capable of. So together with help from some other friends, they invented a small event, and they called it the 0th in the game jam. So this picture, what you see here, is history in the making. This is the photograph of the first ever game jam to happen on Earth. Now, as I said, the purpose was to exploit the new engine created by both of them and see what was the power behind the engine and come up with creative prototypes and games. There were famous people involved in this game jam: Jonathan Blow, Duke Church. Jonathan Blow, the guy behind Braid, and Duke Church, he currently works in Valve and he's responsible for game design of Portal and other projects as well. And as Hecker puts it, the whole idea was to encourage experimentation and innovation in the game industry. And with that statement, the whole thing was born. That's pretty much all about the history of the game jams and how it all began. So let's just come straight to the point, why game jams are so important for indie developers and how they help you refine your skills and make you better in your creative process. Now the first thing, consistent focus. So imagine you are participating in a game jam, a 24-hour or a 48 game jam. So within that time frame, all you are thinking about is that prototype. All you are thinking about is how to make that prototype fun or how to even make it playable. So within that period of time, your brain is consistently focusing on that particular thing. That is to make a good playable prototype within that time frame. And this even helps you when you leave the game jam, when the competition ends and you apply this to your regular routine. You'll see some improvement in your focus, in your concentration power, because your brain gets used to focusing on just one thing within that period of time. Now, experimentation is one of the key purpose of having game jams. I mean, we all have a game or two which we always wanted to make, but we didn't because of lack of time, or maybe because we thought they were too weird. But this is where all the weirdness happens. When you participate in a game jam, you're encouraged to experiment with new ideas. You are encouraged to go out of the box, do something which is not being done in the industry right now, come up with something innovative prototype, come up with some innovative mechanics. So because you're not going to sell that game to anyone and you're just showcasing it and it's part of a competition, this actually works. I mean, you can make any kind of weird games in a game jam and you'll still be appreciated for it because it's something new. The most commonly unanswered question in our industry, in our creative lives, is that how do you get creative? How do you practice creativity? So the answer is very simple if you look at it. Take any other creative form like dancing. How do you get better at dancing? You do it on a regular routine. You do it regularly and you improve, and that's how it works with game jams. Because we are all developers, we love making games, we love making games on our own. And if we do it on a regular basis, that thing actually improves your creativity, because every time you work in a game jam, you're working with something new. You're coming up with solutions to your own problems, and that in a way improves your creativity as well. This is a no-brainer. I mean, as I mentioned, you are working on new prototypes, you are working on new concepts. So there's a lot of learning happening. Even people who have been doing this for like 2 years or 3 years, even when you talk to them, they'll tell you that even if it's the 10th or 15th game jam, they'll definitely learn something new, because they are experimenting with new stuff. Maybe they are experimenting with a new engine. So there's a lot of learning happening. Now, this is a passion-driven industry. You can't make good games. You can't even make games if you're not passionate about this industry. And suppose if you don't plan to stay indie forever and you plan to maybe join a company after 2 or 3 years, so this even proves that how passionate you are about the industry. Because the most common thing what an interviewee would look into you is that how passionate you are. And what's better than telling him that you've been making games on your own, on your free time, and you've been participating in game jams with other group of people, you've been making all kind of weird games. So this will definitely help in that position. Now, this whole idea of making games is based upon teamwork. I know a lot of people who make games on their own, and I'm not against that, but this whole thing is a collaborative thing. When you work in a company, or even if you work in a game jam with a group of friends, you are working as a team. Some might be an artist, some might be programmers. So when you collaborate in a game jam, you have to be good at teamwork. You have to be able to convey your idea to everyone so that everyone is on the same track. And I think even after participating in just the first of your game jams, you'll notice that it improves your teamwork, because you've participated in a team and it's a big event. You've come up with your own game, so that improves as well. I know a lot of people who attend game jams just for meeting new people, meeting new talent, or meeting big names in the industry, because even if you participate in a game jam, there'll be a jury in the end to judge the games. There'll be people from publishers' side who will be looking for new games. So you meet a lot of people there, and I recommend you to actually participate in on-site game jam, because there you will be talking to them in person. You can exchange ideas. Maybe you can collaborate with them on your future projects, or maybe you can just ask for support from publishers to support you on your current project. Now, you've got a short time frame, say about 24 hours, and you have to come up with a full prototype. It should be playable, it should have good art, it should have good coding, and it should have good, neatly designed levels, and all of this has to be done in that short time frame. So what happens when you attend game jams, you make your own deadlines, because you can't waste 3 hours of deciding what color of t-shirt would go well with the character, or what type of enemy would I choose in the game. So you make your own deadlines, and the best part about it is that you actually get punctual. I mean, we are all lazy developers. We like to work on our own free time when we are in the mood. But when we are participating in game jams, we actually get punctual. We make our own deadlines and we achieve it. So that's pretty much the beauty of game jams and how they help you. And I'm pretty sure some might be interested to try it out, and how's the experience, how's it feel to participate in a game jam with strangers online. For them and for people who already are doing this, I've prepared some key notes, and I call them Game Jam Survival 101, which might help you if you're doing it for the first time, or if you're doing it for 10th time. This will definitely help you. Now, the first thing, please don't do this. I mean, I've seen people, they already have a concept in mind before even they know what the theme is. And when the theme is announced on the spot, what they try is they try to accommodate that concept into the theme, and in the end, it's all a blunder. I know this is true because I used to do the same. I already went to game jams with a concept, and when the theme was announced, I just tried to make that concept work with that theme. But don't do that. See, the idea behind a game jam is to be spontaneous. When the themes are announced on the spot, that's the actual test. You have to come up with a concept based on that theme. That's how this whole thing works. So please don't go with a pre-planned concept. This is one of the obvious ones. I've also seen people who are on the venue, they are cracking their softwares, they are looking for licenses, they are looking for installation files, and they waste a lot of times looking for tools. So I know the themes are announced on the spot, but just before a day, get an idea of what you will be making, whether you will be making a 2D game, so make sure you have all the tools. You have Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever tools you use. If you're making a 3D game, make sure every software is already on the system, because you will be asked to bring your own systems at the event, and you don't want to waste time installing softwares and looking for licenses. Socialize. Yes, I know a lot of developers like me are introverts. We don't like talking to people. We don't like socializing. But yes, because this is an event where you'll meet a lot of people. You'll meet a lot of like-minded people, creative people, people who are already working on big projects, people who are working with publishers, or maybe you'll also meet some investors there. So don't just sit at your booth. Don't just sit there. Just get up from your space, talk to people, make new contacts, because trust me, in this industry to survive, you need contacts. Yes, so you have 24 hours or 40 hours to make a game. You are not expected to make a AAA game over there, or you're not expected to make the next big thing over there. The idea is to make something which is fun and short. So aim low, look for games that you think you are comfortable with making. Look for small games. I mean, it doesn't matter if your game only has one level, but if it shows potential, if people think that it's fun, then that's it. Your work is done there. This will happen all the time. Even this happens with experienced people who are doing this for years. There'll be times when you will be stuck with something, when you will not have a solution to that problem, and some people, they just get depressed, they just go down. So see, you have a brain which needs regular rest. You can't expect your brain to be constantly focused on something for 24 hours straight. So whenever you feel there's something which needs a solution, when you're stuck with something, take a walk. And I would recommend talking to people, actually, because who knows, the solution you're looking for might be known to someone else. So talk to people, ask them about solutions, or just go for a regular walk. And yes, as I mentioned, learn from others. there'll be always someone there who will be very much experienced than you, who will be in and out of the softwares you're using or maybe the engines you're using. So don't be shy. People don't actually have any problems when you learn from them. I know this is a competition, but it's not about winning and losing. It's about making a game which is fun and playable. So even if you are not among top 3 or top 5, it doesn't matter. As long as your game is fun and you've accomplished something, that's what matters. So talk to people, learn from them, or I would suggest if you are working on some other project of your own, some personal projects, and if you have a problem in that, I would suggest take your projects with you, ask people about solutions, or even ask for feedbacks. Now, a lot of people disagree with me on this fact that why should I show a game which is buggy, which has glitches, which keeps on crashing? I mean, people would just make fun of my game. But that's not the point. See, the point is not about winning or losing. The point is getting all the feedback. The point is learning from your mistakes. So even if your game is not highly playable or 100% complete, show off, let people play, gather all the feedbacks. I know there'll be a lot of negative feedbacks. People will just hate your game. They'll just quit right after playing it. But yes, in the end, you'll have a lot of data in your hands. You'll have a lot of feedback in your hand, which will improve your next project you're working on. Sometimes it'll feel just very boring, or maybe sometimes when you're stuck in a problem, you'll just feel like giving up. Like, okay, I'm done with this thing. Let's just go back home and I'll try next time. But don't give up. The idea is to have something. The idea is to actually learn from that experience. The idea is not to make a game which has to be loved by everyone. So I believe that if you start something, you should at least make it somewhat playable, so that at least people have the idea that, okay, this is what you were trying to achieve, and this is why you didn't achieve it. So don't give up. Start what you end what you started. Yes, a game jam doesn't mean that you have to skip eating, that you have to skip naps, because yes, a lot of people do that.